Hey YouTube, it's a random millennial here. I did not think I'd be uploading so soon again. I mean, I'm really super new. Like we're talking second video ever. Probably a terrible, terrible excuse considering I was born in the age of all of this, happening around me. Technology, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. Not TikTok. TikTok is definitely the younger generation, but yeah. I just kind of want to clear my thoughts. This is gonna be like a part two. Hopefully, it'll be more streamlined. We'll say. In the first part of the video from yesterday, I talked about like being triggered these past few days, thinking about you know growing old and like the fear that comes with that. Um, I actually, I went down the rabbit hole for sure. So I see that it didn't process to me that there are a lot of people out there, even young kids. We're talking young kids. I was completely wrong. There are people who are, you know, in their teens or preteens that are seriously dealing with issues where they're scared. They're scared to grow old. They look at their grandparents and they don't want to be like that. You know, and I never processed that. It's weird. Like the mind and um, what we how we process and what issues we end up having to deal with. I mean, obviously, a lot of it is your upbringing, the circumstances around, uh, general life fulfillment at whatever point in time. Um, but yeah, it was crazy to me to think that little kids will have this issue. But then when I really thought about it, sometimes it is scary, and it could be triggered from something just like a poor explanation of death, or you seeing your grandparents, and your grandparents are um, very well on in their years and they have trouble getting around or whatever, or even just the recollection of them when they were better, and then as time progresses and as they're growing older, you know if I'm a little kid and I see my grandparents and they're happy-go-lucky, they're active, and then if I picture myself like at 10 years later, and they're not like that anymore, I guess at that point, even if you are still a young kid, it's really scary. Or if a health turn happens, um, honestly, it's a bad explanation of death, feels a loss of some sort, anything can trigger it, right? So in that sense, I guess I do consider myself, I guess, lucky, or because this isn't a thought until that happened recently. We're talking days, and then I felt like I needed an outlet. I feel like I needed someone to talk to, or I needed to document in some sense, and that's why I posted my first YouTube video. Um, you know, it's crazy to think, but it's like I, I find myself, at least I think, consider myself a really rational person. So um, when things like growing old become a scary issue, I I I rationalize and I try to think, well, we can. It happens to everyone. We can't help it. We can only just make the best of our lives, right? But it's that's only because we all accept it. We all accept growing older, right? As of now, uh, there's no cure, right? There probably won't ever be. Maybe not. It's hard to tell, but will it happen in our lifetime, or my lifetime, or even the next generation? It's hard to say. It's really hard to say, right? And then even if that kind of advancement happens, that it's going to be a problem, because every who doesn't want to not live forever, right? That the key would not be to live forever, but the key would be to be young forever, right? There's a drastic difference. no one, I think if you really thought about it, no one would want to live forever if they would still age. Because the problem with age comes the fact that you're you end up declining. Your faculties end up declining, right? And I can't. Whenever I talk to someone about it, or they don't seem to understand because it's taken for granted. Like, yo, everybody will get old. Like, goddamn, it doesn't matter, you know. Um, so like and I can understand, like, you know, you have to be as happy as you can, as much as you can, because these things, if you can't be, well, you can only control what you can control, right? So you can only try to live your life to your fullest, the way that will make you the happiest. Now, obviously, that's easier said than done. Um, and the people who do manage this, they have the quote unquote fulfilled life where they probably will never have this issue, because at no point will they have to be uh, introspective and retrospective about themselves, you know, what they've done or haven't done, right? You can get a lot of solace in if you've tried your best, right? But it's really just not true for everybody. Like, not how many people actually, you know, live and do things to the full potential they can, right? How many people, you know, you wake up one day and you're, however old you are, however much as time has passed, and you think back and you might be like, damn, that went by fast. What happened? You know, I never really considered these things. I've always been a really sentimental and nostalgic person, but damn, you know, once you start thinking about it, it's a whole rabbit hole, and you really can't stop, right? I I have two younger brothers. The youngest one, within a matter of a week, I believe at this point, he's going to be leaving, going off to college, taking the next chapter of his life. I obviously don't want anything but the best for him. For actually anyone, right? There's no reason to wish ill on anyone. But all those moments of, you know, him being around, him growing up, um, me helping to raise him along with my parents, those are things that I replay in my mind over and over and over. And I had like a really heartfelt discussion with him too, just about everything. And it was cathartic, but it's somehow not enough. You know, when I have these lulls where you're to yourself, your mind just starts racing. You know, sure, college is 4 years. Sure, he's going to be back for vacation, right? All of these things are true, but it'll go by in a blink of an eye, right? I I very firmly believe that, you know, we are who we are because of our experiences, our memories. So if at any point, you know, for instance, something happens to you or to people around you, and that there are people who experience it together, if at some point it's forgotten for whatever reason, then it's as if it's never happened, right? I kind of I envy kids these days because so much of their upbringing, persona, interaction is online and it's made very simple. But because it's online via any of those platforms, there's a there's a there's a way. It's something that's, you know, in this ether of the internet forever, right? There are records. There are, if you post a video like I'm doing now, it's something you can go back to years later. Even if you forget this exact moment, you can see it, the video, and you know it happened, right? And I think that's really important. I actually think it's a really good outlet, I think, for a lot of people, or at least it should be if they haven't considered it. It's not one of those things like you don't have to do anything amazing. You don't have to do like something that goes viral and then turn YouTube into this huge thing. No, you can use it as a means for you to connect with others experiencing similar things, or just even for yourself to, be able to reflect. So when you have a worse time, you can come back to this where you're even maybe at your lowest, or vice versa when you're at your best. I really wish, like, growing up, if we had the medium to, like, we had Facebook, right? And Facebook was starting out, but there weren't so many things like, so the videos, like YouTube was a thing, but not many things. It was just starting out. Not many people. It wasn't as big in the culture as it is now. I mean, I can only imagine, like, as a kid having, recorded videos of activities I was doing, whatever. But now they're just, because they were never recorded, they're just in my mind. The people that were there that still remember, the people, if I ever forget, if the people that around me ever forget, it's just never happened. That is scary as fuck to me. I said, damn it. No, I'm saying bad words. But, that's just how I feel. And it's something I never had to consider it. And I'm still in the process of working through it. The logical part of me knows, what I said earlier about you can only live life to your fullest. You can only do everything you can to make yourself as happy as you can be for as long as you can be, right? But that shit ain't easy. It's not easy. When you start having these thoughts, when you start thinking about these things in this light, it's really hard. The rabbit hole is never ending. That shit, that freaking Alice jumped in, no, there's no end. There's no, like, you pop out on the other side and you're like, you just understand everything. No, it's not. Right? And that the whole process is living our life. When you're scared of fucking getting old, oh my God, just think about, like, how many things, what if you try to avoid it? Like, if you were scared of something physical, if you're scared of bugs, if you're scared of heights, you can avoid those things to the best of your ability, But aging, every day you grow older, you wake up and feel different. If you try to avoid those things, you're going to put yourself in such a small box that happiness is impossible. Think about pop culture. Think about those viral videos, those funny things like baby videos, those, like, elderly videos where older people, more experienced people, give advice to younger people. Pop songs, songs in general. Like, how many songs these days talk about growing old, or when you were young, or wishing you were still young? Like, it's a never-ending cycle, right? And we're not equipped as people to try to resolve our issues, like this issue. It's just we're not equipped. How do you can't turn off your brain, you can't whatever, right? It's all on you yourself to turn that corner, to say, you know what, you have to accept it. But even if you try to tell yourself that logically, subconsciously there's still something there. I can still feel like if I have those moments to myself, I have those, like, it's like a nagging sensation on the back of my head. I just been feeling it. It's like a nagging physical sensation. You just feel uncomfortable. That's been going on for a few days now. Like, I believe in myself and I know I'll turn the corner. I know that I've already thought through so much of this, but it's taking more time, right? Because you really have to convince your mind, trick your mind, do whatever you can for it to just accept it. And there are problems that are interrelated, right, to this issue. Your personal happiness, where you are in your life, might also affect it, right? I may not be in the best part of my life so far, not horrible. People clearly have it worse than me, but because maybe I'm not happy, I allow things to trigger me, and I just went down this whole rabbit hole with my brain just thinking about this problem, and me having to identify with, the fear of growing old. That may very well be the case. But yeah, I mean, I hope today I was like more, in line, less tangents. Generally we're all always still speaking about the same thing. Yeah. Again, for those who do see the video, definitely feel free to comment. If your experience is similar, if you have that experience at all, or what you think would help, I would love to hear. I would for sure correspond, right? It's something especially since I'm going through, it'd be so interesting to see how other people deal with it, or what other people who don't have this issue think about it, or people who've never considered it ever. And if not, that's fine too, because it's a load off my chest. It really is. So I hope you all have a great day. Actually, backtrack 1 second. It's not always going to be about this topic. I do want to talk about just everything in general, right? Like, we'll talk about a lot of stuff. I mean, millennials are millennials. Every generation goes through certain things, experiences certain things as a whole, as a collective, because of the times we're in. Definitely want to put that perspective out there, at least the way I interpret it, as a random millennial. But yeah, and it won't always be dark and always be whatever. It'll be all topics. So feel free to shoot me a topic you want to talk about, or even, that you're curious about my opinion on, maybe. If not, I'm going to probably end up talking about it at some point, and you can see my opinion then. Have a nice one, guys.